Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So it's been a while since I've done a video, and in between that time of my last video and now, I have decided to change the name of my channel. So previously I was going by Locked Queen Bee, which I love the name. It reflected where I was at the time that I tried to start my YouTube channel. I was heavily into locks. I knew that hair is what I wanted to talk about. But with me wanting to do different things, and I have different things that I'm interested in, I thought that a channel change as far as the name was appropriate because I didn't want to be boxed into only talking about locks or only being known as a lock channel. So I decided to switch to Hey Britney. So how did I come up with Hey Britney? So Hey Britney is probably something that I hear pretty much every day. Hey Britney, can you get that? Hey Britney, are we going to this place? X, Y, and Z, blah, blah, blah. So Hey Britney is something that I hear every day, and it actually sounded like a good channel name because it's generic. It's not too revealing as far as what my channel is going to be about. It's obviously going to be about me, so having that in the name is perfect. So I wanted to make that switch. I didn't announce it on YouTube. I posted about it on Instagram and just let people know, hey, you know, I'm going by Hey Britney now, and that's where you will find my content. Alrighty, so in this video, we're going to cover some lifestyle updates and also hair updates. So we're going to get into the lifestyle stuff first, and then we're going to jump to the hair. So being that my last video was about 6 months ago, and it was a hair video, it was my 6-month update, I believe, on my current set of locks. A lot of changes have been happening since then, so we're going to talk about the hair stuff later. That was back in January, and I do have a few videos up online where I'm talking about being laid off and being unemployed, and so I'm still unemployed. We'll get into that in a minute, but the biggest change that I've been through in between videos is that one of my dogs passed away, Benji. He was my sister and I's. He was our first dog. Tiny dog. He was only 5 pounds. He was almost 11 years old. I think he was 11 years old. I'm really bad with birthdays and dates, and so anyway, he was relatively young. He wasn't like super old. It was not like he was 20 or something like that. He did have congestive heart failure, so he did have some health issues. And at the time that we found out about his health issues, the doctor did mention that he had like a year and a half or something like that to live. And he had been doing so well that it kind of just like didn't even occur to us that, hey, he might die soon, or he doesn't have long left to live. And so that was really traumatizing. His last day with us, he was sleeping with my sister. Normally he sleeps downstairs in our office, but he had been hospitalized 3 weeks prior, and we're not even sure what happened. My sister, she does a good job of like keeping an eye on them overnight, and she mentioned that he was like moving around a lot. And so when we went down in the morning, he was just acting really weird. I think he was like kind of like struggling to breathe, and then I sat with him trying to calm him down, hopefully that my presence would make him feel better, and he just kind of got worse, and eventually he started coughing up blood, and so we took him in. He stayed at the hospital for maybe like a week or something like that, and then he came back. And when he came back, we started letting him sleep with us, so he would rotate who he would sleep with. And so the last night that he slept with me, he was great. He even he is very picky about where he sleeps. So if you imagine me in bed, I'm like sleeping with my head on the pillows, my feet at the end of the bed, and then I kind of have this like body pillow that I was putting at the foot of my bed for my dog Teddy to sleep on. And I didn't want Benji to lay at the foot of my bed, so I moved it to, it would be parallel to me, and so he was sleeping on there. And I remember I got up in the morning, he kind of like hobbled over to me, not hobbled over to me, but he like ran over to me and he lay down. He was like, what are we doing next, Mom? Like, he was just so happy. And so then that night he slept with my sister, and he was kind of doing the same thing that we noticed that he was doing like 3 or 4 weeks prior. And so we took him in much sooner, since we knew kind of like the same thing was happening. And then as he was with them, he just kind of progressively got worse. He went into urge, I think, and he started like throwing up even more blood and stuff like that. And so we got the call, we went in to say goodbye, and we got a paw print of him, kind of like a foam paw print. We had him cremated. We have him home with us. He's downstairs. We kind of have like a little shrine set up for him, and we got a clay print, we got a lock of his hair, and then we got something else, I think, if I'm not missing anything. Yeah, I'll just say that's what we got. And then we obviously got letters in the mail from the vets that he had gone to over the years and all of that, or at least the vets that we had been in touch with recently. So that was really nice. He was a really well-liked puppy and a really well-loved dog. And so there's this company called gosh, I can't think of it. It's something with a C. It's like Cuddies or something like that. But the point of what they do is they make pillows and they make stuffed animals that look like your dog. So you send in a bunch of pictures, and then they will basically take the time to like craft a stuffed animal that looks very similar, if not exactly like your pet. And so I initially wanted to go that route, but I wasn't sure how it would look, being that Benji has like a very wavy coat, and with the fabric, or with the fabric or the fur or whatever that they're using, it's not going to look exactly like Benji. And so I kind of didn't want a dog that didn't have his same coat, you know what I mean? So I came up with that order, and I ended up getting this pillow. At first I got the 12-inch pillow, and I was like, no, I want to be able to cuddle with it and stuff like that. And so I got it upgraded to a 16-inch pillow. It took maybe 2 to 3 weeks to come. The pillow looks great. The picture that I chose is awesome. I'm actually gonna go grab it right now and show it to you guys. So this is Benji. I can't recall. I think this is the correct way. This way is like a mirror image, but this is Benji. He's such a cute dog. He's tiny. I wanted to get the 12-inch pillow because I thought it would be better to have a pillow that actually matched the size that he was. This is a 16-inch pillow. So this is Benji. This pillow, I was gonna keep it downstairs where we normally hang out with the other dogs, but my sister was scared, but they would be freaked out by seeing this pillow, and they kind of were. They were kind of like sniffling it, playing with it and whatever, but I also don't want it to get messed up, so I brought it upstairs, and this just stays in my room. So I can see him all the time. And then I have him, I'm using my phone to record, but I have my wallpaper is a picture of Benji, a black and white picture of Benji. And so yeah, I'm smiling a lot, but obviously I've had some time to kind of get used to him not being here, but I love to talk about him and think about him as much as I can. And so yeah, we really miss Benji, but we know that he's doing better in heaven. He's not in pain. He's running around with the other dogs and just waiting for us to come join him. So yeah. Alrighty, so the next thing I want to talk about is being out of work. So I was laid off, if you're not familiar with my story. I was laid off in January, the 25th of January, and I've been out of work since then. It is now August 23rd, I think. August 23rd, so I've been out of work for the past 7 to 8 months. And it's been an interesting journey for sure. Obviously I've sent in many applications over the course of this time of being out of work. I did have to do a RESA, R-E-S-E-A, if I'm saying that correctly, appointment with someone from the unemployment office in this local area. It was actually very helpful because they helped me to improve my resume, gave me some great pointers on how I can make it look better, some things I could take out, some things I could add. And so my resume looks a lot better. I'm actually really glad that I had that meeting or that interview because I wasn't really sure what it was going to be like, because I had Googled online and it said that it could take up to like 3 hours, and I was freaking out about that. But luckily it only took like maybe 45 minutes, and it was a really helpful interview. So I'm really glad that I got to go through that process. So with me being out of work, I obviously have a lot of time on my hands since I don't have a set schedule anymore. I'm not working 8 to 9 hours a day, and so I have a lot more free time to do whatever I want. And so I have been trying to do my coding lessons, but I've fallen off. This is the exact same thing that happened with the previous course that I was doing on Udemy. It was basically a beginner to web development, and it took me basically like 3 years to complete that course. I started it, got distracted, got frustrated with the fact that it was just taking me so long to get through each lesson because I was really trying to take good notes, and then basically a 10-minute video would turn into a 30-minute video because I'm stopping it that much. And so that got really frustrating. Something similar kind of happened with the second course that I'm doing, a React course. I just really I like what I'm learning. I like that I'm learning to code, but for some reason I just haven't really been into what I haven't been wanting to put the time into completing that course. I should have done maybe 3 or 4 courses during this time of being laid off, but I've only gotten basically 1.5 completed at this point. I'm trying to give myself grace with that because I know how I felt in the moment and what pushed me to not want to do it. And I can open my laptop up to watch something and I'm like really into whatever I'm watching, but as soon as I switch to a coding lesson, it's just like I get sleepy, I'm not focused. And so I really want to make sure that if I'm putting in the time to watch the lessons and actually trying to learn something, I want to make sure that I can retain the information. I'm not just like basically making the time go down so I can move on to the next thing. So I want to make sure that I'm really paying attention when I do those lessons. And so I'm hoping by the end of August I can complete the remaining lessons that I have. If not, we'll just continue working on it in September and try to get something else done. Yeah. So as far as TV shows, I've obviously watched a lot of TV during this time. I have been binging the Power version. I'm actually done now because I'm all caught up. So I did watch OG Power years ago when it came out, and I actually maybe did not watch the last season, I can't recall, but I do know that Ghost was killed by Tariq, and so I don't know what made me, oh, I do know. So I am watching a show called Outlander on Starz. I originally got into it on Netflix, and so they only have like maybe the first 5 seasons. I had Starz and I was able to watch the 6th season, and then now the 7th season is out, and so I got Starz so that I could watch those episodes live as they were airing. And so being that I have Starz, I also have access to other TV shows besides Outlander and Power. I kept seeing stuff about Power, and so I was like, okay, let me just go and watch this. And so I've watched Power Book 2, 3, and 4. All were really good. I actually wanted to start a podcast called Binge Watch Britney so that I can talk about all of these TV shows I'm watching, because I kind of really want to try to get something out of it besides just what I'm watching. As far as I feel like sometimes I'm kind of like a couch potato and like wasting my time watching TV, but I feel like if I made a podcast about what I'm watching, talk about what's happening in the show, and then kind of relate it to things going on in my life or in the real world, or connect it to other TV shows, it makes it feel worthwhile for me to have spent that time watching those TV shows. And so I do have 2 binge watch Britney episodes out about Power, book 2, seasons 1 and 2. I'm still working on recapping basically and talking about the other seasons and the other shows, Power shows that I've watched. It's just taking me some time to get into that, but I hopefully will be able to get that done and have new episodes. And so yeah, lots of TV. So I will talk a little bit briefly about Power verse, because I was really interested in the fact that they have 3 different spin-offs. I don't know which one is my favorite. I really like Tariq because you got a different view of him from when you saw him in OG Power. He was kind of like really annoying in OG Power. And then in Raising Canyon, I always want to say Raising Cane, like the restaurant, but it's Raising Canyon. That was really good because it was kind of a throwback to like the 80s and 90s, and I really like TV shows that are kind of either set in that time period or actually were made in that time period, because it's just like a different way of life compared to what we have now. And so Raising Canyon was good. Canyon was super annoying. I'm just gonna leave it at that. And then I really like Tommy because Tommy was my favorite out of Ghost and Tommy from OG Power. So season 2 comes out September 1st. So I'm definitely gonna be checking that out. Yeah, so I've been watching other shows as well. I've been trying to watch Beverly Hills 90210, the original Beverly Hills TV show. I did watch the 90210 spinoff when I was younger, but I never saw the original show, and so I'm kind of trying to get into that. That one is a little bit different because obviously TV shows set in the 90s, they were more like made for TV, and so they were kind of, you could just kind of tell they seem more scripted and they seem more kind of cheesy is the wrong word to use, but it's just not the same as the shows that came out later when I was like in middle school and high school and all of that. So it's a good watch, but it's just an adjustment in terms of the acting style, I guess, or how the acting is delivered. So I've watched some other TV shows that I can't really think of right now, but just know that I've been watching a lot of TV. Yeah. And then speaking of other TV shows I've been watching, obviously I got sucked into the Vanderpump Rules drama with Tom, Raquel, or Rachel, and Ariana, and I was really consumed by all of that drama that was happening. I kept checking every day for like news stories and all of that, checking Reddit, seeing what people were posting about the different things that they were noticing as the new episodes were airing, listening to recaps or reading recaps of the different podcast episodes that people had where they talked about what was going on. And so it was just a really crazy, chaotic time. I'm fascinated with why that scandal was so huge to begin with. I'm sure everybody's fascinated with it because cheating is not like, it's not something that happens once in a blue moon. Like, it's pretty common now, and so people are kind of like, they're not immune to it, but they don't react as strongly to it to this degree. That's the attention scandal received. So that was interesting as well. That definitely kept me busy all of March, April, and May, and all of that. Now, as far as my podcast, I did mention that I have a few more shows that I want to recap and talk about in my podcast. I'm also wanting to do one show I want to do for sure is One Tree Hill. If you don't know anything else about me, know that I love One Tree Hill. So I'm on the fence of if for One Tree Hill, if I want to do a episode per episode, like a podcast episode per episode, or if I just want to stick to doing the podcast episodes as season, because I feel like that would be easier to do because it would take me a very long time to do a podcast episode about each episode on the show because there's 9 seasons and I think there's almost like 20 episodes per season, so that's going to be a lot of work. The reason why I wanted to do that is because, one, I love One Tree Hill, but also, two, I know that the girls from the show who played Haley, I wanted to say Sophia Bush, so I'm trying to think of her character's name, Book, and then Hillary is the actress's name, but Peyton. So Haley, Book, and Peyton, the actresses who play those characters, have a podcast where they're basically going through and they're watching all of the episodes live again, and then they're basically releasing a podcast episode talking about the things that were going on in their lives while they were filming those particular episodes. And so I haven't really been able to get into it just because I don't like listening to podcasts, because sometimes it's hard for me to understand everything that's being said, and so I just get like the general gist of what's going on, or I only am able to pick out a few words out of everything that's said. And so I just feel like it wouldn't be a good use of my time to listen to something that I can't really absorb all of the information for. But I really was excited when I first found out they were doing that, because I think it's just a cool tribute to One Tree Hill, and it speaks to how popular it is. Even it's literally 20 years later. It came out in 2003. It's 20 years later and people are still talking about One Tree Hill, and so I just love that I got to experience it live when it was in, because it's such a great show. Alright, so another life update. I broke my toe at the end of May. This was also literally the day before my dog Benji passed away. I broke my toe. It was not fun. I broke my right pinky toe. This was a toe that I had broken before when I was maybe like 10 or 11. So back then, my sister and I, we were home with our mom. It was late at night, it was dark, and we were going downstairs to the kitchen to get something, and we were kind of afraid of the dark for whatever reason at that time, so we were like racing to get back upstairs. And so in my house that I was growing up in, we had like we had, I don't even know how to describe it or what the correct terms are, but we had a bathroom that was kind of its own wall, and then we kind of had like a little walkway, hallway, and then another like thin wall, and then an open space great room. And so we obviously had to worry about the wall that was splitting the walkway and the bathroom on one side and then the great room on the other side. And then kind of like right next to that thin wall, we had like an L-shaped couch. And so the L-shaped couch is right here. And so we're kind of like racing, trying to get in front of each other. And I don't know how I ended up going towards the couch, but I obviously hit the couch with my foot. And so I'm going upstairs and I noticed that my foot feels really weird. I'm not sure what's going on. So I turn on the light and I look at it. I scream for my mom because my toe is kind of like off to the side and it's not really dangling, but it's clearly out of place. And so I had to go to the emergency room. I waited for hours. I was in pain. It was not comfortable. And then when I finally got back there, I found out that I broke and dislocated my pinky toe. So they fixed it, put a cast on it, and then I was on crutches. And then I've pretty much been fine since that happened. But again, I broke that same toe. I did have a situation prior to me moving to my new house. I ran my pinky toe into the bedpost pole under my bed and it was really swollen. I think I got an x-ray and it was fine. I'm not 100% sure, but then you have me hitting that same toe here, and I hit it on my dog ramp, and I think I heard it cracked. I heard a noise. I'm not 100% sure. I just hit it straight on to the dog ramp because I was kind of trying to step over it. I could have clearly just walked around it to get to where I needed to go, but I wanted to step over it. Didn't have enough room and just wham. And so I thought it was the same situation as what happened in the Bronx. I was just swollen. I was going to be okay, but I was like, no, I think I broke it. And so my sister had to drive me to the ER. I was seen after like 30 minutes to 40 minutes, whatever. And I basically had like what looked like, I guess you call it a hairline fracture going through my pinky toe. So it was clearly broken, but it wasn't dislocated like it was before, which is good. I still had to wear a walking boot. So I was in a walking boot for maybe 7 to 8 weeks. Normally it's supposed to be like 6 weeks, but I kept hitting my toe. So I would take my boot off sometimes and just walk around once I got more comfortable. So maybe around the 3rd week or the 4th week I would do that, and I would hit it a few times. And so there's just one particular time where I was at like maybe 6 weeks, 7 weeks, and I was not using my boot anymore, and I was outside, and I caught my toe somehow. I caught my toe somehow on my sister's heel, and it was so painful. So I wore a boot for like maybe a week or two, and then it calmed down. It still hurts. So now I'm kind of like 2 steps back from where I was because I thought I was healing, hurt it again, and then so now I'm kind of back on track. And so I have started running on the treadmill again. Literally the day that I broke it, I had run the previous day, so I was getting into a running routine on the treadmill. I was really excited about it, and then I broke my toe, so I know that I'm gonna be starting over from scratch. And so I did try to do the bike for maybe not the first 2 weeks since it hurt to put my toe into a shoe, but I did try to stay in shape on the bike. And I started walking on the treadmill, and then I really want to run again on the treadmill, but I realized that I'm gonna have to start over on the treadmill. When I broke my toe, I was running 30-second sprints, so 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off, and I was doing that for about 20 sprints, and I was doing that at 7.5 miles per hour. So I was at a really good place basically when I broke my toe. And so the thing with me with running on the treadmill is that I need to have the right shoes, because for whatever reason, something caused me to have compartment syndrome. And so basically, if I'm wearing the wrong shoes, my lower legs, like my shins basically, will be on fire. They will not feel good. I'll have trouble walking. It will be uncomfortable. It will be painful. And so I really need to make sure that I wear the right shoes, because one time let me show you the shoes. So okay, so I have the shoes. So these are Nike Flex shoes. So I really like these shoes. I had a different pair that I just loved wearing. They were actually not the right size, and I've always been a size 10 in men's, but a 10 in men's doesn't give me enough room in the toe box, so that causes issues. But anyway, so I would run on the treadmill with these when I first moved to the Bronx, maybe like 2012, and then obviously other times I've been trying to run on the treadmill in these shoes. This would just cause me so much pain. It's not really the shoes, it's just the fact of, I guess, like how my feet are supported, which in turn affects like my legs and all of that. And so basically I need a lot more cushioning at the bottom. So I did switch to foot shape shoes. So these are Topo Athletics. This is the Magnafly 3. It has a wide toe box. You can see here that this is a lot wider than you would see on a normal shoe, and then you can obviously see the cushioning here. So this is really the only type of shoe that I can run in on the treadmill that doesn't cause me pain. And so just knowing that I have a lot of factors to consider when I'm running, so issues with my feet that will impact my shins, and then also I do have knee problems, and that's just something that I've gone through since I was playing basketball, so it's not specific to the issues with my compartment syndrome or anything like that. And so I know that when I'm getting back on the treadmill, I'm going to be starting over from scratch, and I have to really make sure that I'm wearing the proper footwork so that I don't have any additional setbacks, because maybe 2 months before May, so maybe like April, maybe March or April or something like that, I made the mistake of running in those Nike Flex shoes, and I was really sore the next day. I could not walk without any discomfort, so I know that it's super important to make sure that I'm wearing the right shoes. So now that I've been talking about working out, I do want to talk about something that I've experienced, that I'm experiencing now that I've never really experienced before: weight gain. So when I first moved here, it was in July 2022, and around then I was like 160 pounds, and then kind of within 3 months I was over 170. So I was getting closer to 180, maybe getting closer to 190, and so within that 3 months I put on a good amount of weight. I'm now like 185, and prior to that I know that I had wanted to get bigger, because that's what everyone told me to do. That's what they would say when they looked at me. They would say, oh, you need to eat more, you need to put on weight. And I always ate a lot. It was just that I was playing basketball, so I always burned a lot of calories, so I never really was able to put on weight, and so unless I was like working out and actually trying to build muscle, but otherwise I didn't gain weight. And so there was this one time, maybe 2015, if not before that, I did try this thing. I can't think of what it's called. It's basically something that there's a actual term for what the product is called. It was basically something that would trigger like hunger, and it would cause you to eat more. And so I tried that for a little bit, and I was literally just eating everything, and I wasn't working out, so I gained weight. I got up to like maybe 170 something, but then very quickly I lost that weight once I stopped eating that much. And so the issue I'm having now is that I don't really think I'm eating a lot of food, but I have not been able to lose the weight at all that I've gained. And so I've been basically 180 pounds for like the past year, and so no matter what I do, I'm not really able to break under 180, and it's been super annoying, super frustrating, because obviously my body has changed with the weight gain, not necessarily in a bad way, but I do need to like work out to maintain it, to make sure that I'm not gaining more weight, and then that I don't feel worse about my body than I do. So there's that. And so I do eat at home quite a bit. We do eat out a lot as well, but I am trying to be a little bit more considerate of my portion sizes and knowing that if I do eat like a big meal, that I am trying to work out to kind of compensate for that. So when my toe was broken and I wasn't able to do the treadmill, I would bike so that I'm getting some exercise in. And then once I started walking on the treadmill, I would bike and walk on the same day. So I would do my 20 sprints. That usually takes about 23 minutes, and then I would walk for 30 minutes. And so I would either walk at a flat surface, so like, or a flat incline, and then I started to increase the incline just because I know that when you increase the incline and you go at like a slow speed, you're still burning like a lot of calories and stuff like that, and you're also burning fat. And so I can't recall what the workout is, but it's like when you do it at a 12 incline and 3 miles per hour, that is really tough. I haven't even been able to like do a full 30 minutes of that because that's really intense. And so I don't know if that's my goal, but I'm just telling you so that you guys have some kind of like comparison as far as like the different inclines and speeds and all of that. And so I have not been able to lose the weight. I am mindful of what I'm eating, and hopefully I can continue to maintain this exercise routine that I'm in, at least making sure that I'm either biking, walking, and or jogging, because right now I'm doing 5.5 miles per hour on the treadmill. So I'm doing 20 sprints for 30 seconds on, 30 seconds off at 5.5 miles per hour. And that's a very, very slow pace. So it's not like I'm sprinting. It's more kind of a jog. And so obviously I would hope to build on that and increase the speed, but I do want to make sure that I'm mindful of my toe because it will start hurting and causing me pain, and then obviously I'll be taking steps back again and having to work forward to get to where I am right now. I just want to be mindful of that so that I don't cause myself any more delays in terms of getting back into the fitness routine that I want to get back into. So one other thing I want to touch on with my weight gain is that I always thought that I wouldn't be able to gain weight until after I was like pregnant or something like that, just because of, you know, the weight you gain when you're carrying a child and blah, blah, blah. And so I always thought that I wouldn't gain weight until after that happened. And so being in my early 30s and having that weight gain without having a pregnancy is really, really not scary, but it's just something completely unexpected. It obviously makes me think about young women who haven't really had those changes yet, and they're getting plastic surgery, they're getting BBLs and all of that stuff. So I could not imagine if I had a BBL and then I gained all of this extra weight. Like, that would just make me feel awful. And so, not that I've ever considered getting one, but it's always been talked about as far as like having a certain body shape and then getting surgery to be able to have that body shape and things like that. So all right, moving on. So now we're going to talk about skincare. So I have done a few skincare videos. I was really big on using Paula's Choice. I realized maybe within 6 months that it wouldn't work, maybe 6 months to a year, that it wasn't working for me, so I stopped using Paula's Choice products completely. Since moving to my new house, I do have a new routine completely, and I've talked about this in another video, but basically I'm just using a zinc pyrithione bar. Previously, when I was in high school, I saw a dermatologist who recommended the ZMP bar. They don't make that anymore, and so I never really found an alternative, and then I kind of went back to it maybe 2 years ago, and it's been working for me, so I have not switched from the replacement ZMP bar that I've been able to find. And then also I'm using a witch hazel on my face now. I'm using I can't even think of the name of the brand that I'm using, but I'm using witch hazel now. I have a I'm using different moisturizer for my face that has sunscreen in it, and then I do have a nighttime moisturizing lotion or moisturizer that I use, and then I'm using my Alba Zit cream. I'm also using my Neutrogena benzoyl peroxide cream, and then I have introduced using cortisone cream, just because I do get red pimples that if I don't get them under control, they'll swell up really big, and it's a pain to deal with. And then on top of that, it leaves a scar. So I have one of those happen right here somewhere on my nose. So I've been using cortisone a lot, just because I know I'm not going to go to a doctor and get the hydrocortisone shot. So that has been a good alternative to that. I also have been getting hydrofacials. I've been getting hydrofacials maybe for a year now at this point. I didn't start getting it immediately when I moved here. It took me some time to like make an appointment and actually get it done. I actually really like doing it. It cleared my face up a lot. It cleared it up a lot more than I would have been able to do on my own within that same time period. So it was just really helpful, because I know that over the years I've tried using different products that have made my face worse, that have made my face better, and so being able to clear all of that up with the hydrofacials has been really helpful. As of right now, I'm not getting them just because I want to be mindful of my budget with me being out of work, and so I'm really happy with my skincare routine right now. One other thing that I have introduced is using a retinol. I'm using the Neutrogena retinol for stubborn acne marks, which has been really helpful. I do have obviously dark marks on my face I'm trying to get rid of, or at least reduce the appearance of, and so I really like using that retinol. And just with me using that retinol and having the hydrofacial, that's a lot of exfoliation that my skin is going through, and so I know that the retinol will hold me over until I'm able to get a hydrofacial, just to keep myself on track in that regards. So alrighty, so now we can get into the good stuff. We can talk about my hair. So a lot of changes with my hair since the last video, and now in March, I told you guys that I cut my hair, and then I had to go back and add extensions to make it longer because I just didn't like how short it was. I cut it again, and I had to go back and extend my ends again, and so this is what I have now. I think I did a better job the second time around of adding length to the hair that I cut. The only reason why I did not like, well, there's two reasons why I didn't like the cut. I just felt like the cut wasn't like flattering or feminine enough for me, so I feel better with longer hair. And so with the shorter hair, I didn't like the way the cut looked on me. And then something that you'll know when you cut locks, even though these are braids and not really locks, when you cut locks, you have to be careful of your ends getting blown out. And so that's what happened when I cut my braids. The ends were blown out, and I just had a kind of like a poof right here at my collarbone or whatever, and it just didn't look good. It just didn't look good, and I hated that. And so that is what caused me to extend my hair back to where it was, just so I didn't have to deal with that awkward phase of waiting for my ends to seal up and then kind of like grow out, because I was kind of annoyed by the fact that I was gonna have to wait like maybe a year or something for my hair to go back out to that point, even though this is not all my hair. So I really like the length that I have right now. My ends are sealing a little bit. Lint is not an issue this time around, and I think it has a lot to do with the fact that I'm not wearing the hoodie that was giving me those lint issues anyway. But also, once my hair is past a certain length, I feel like it's not rubbing the same way to attract the lint. So I know that I probably need to keep my hair around this length to avoid those lint issues. And then obviously in other videos I talked about wanting bigger locks, and so I have tried maybe at least 2 or 3 times to take my locks down like completely, like remove the extensions, and then also had the intention of taking down all of my hair that was interlocked so that I could do a new grid and have bigger locks. I did not get very far in that process. It's very time consuming, just at the fact of taking down the extensions and then also taking down the interlocked portion of my hair this late in the game. It's probably gonna take me a month and a half if I'm being honest. So that's not really how I want to spend my time. Like a lot of time I convince myself that that's what I want to do, but I really don't want to spend that time taking down my hair, not being able to go anywhere as far as not being overly worried about how my hair is gonna look, because right now I can just literally put my hair up in ponytail and go. With me taking down the work that I have to take down, I'm gonna have to be wearing a scarf, and I'm gonna have to be concerned about how my hair looks, and that's not something that I've had to worry about for at least the last 2 years or something like that. So that's why that's another con for why taking my hair down is not gonna be a good idea. So also in other videos I've talked about needing to repair my hair. I have been open to cutting my hair that is sticking out of the braids or the locks a little bit more before I really want to make sure that I could redo them so that I could get the hair kind of to blend a little bit better, but eventually it's just gonna stick out, especially where my hair is thicker. So I do have locks where my hair is sticking out, and for right now I'm not really too concerned about it. I am just cutting off whatever is sticking out. Like I have one something down here, I have one somewhere where the hair is just like sticking out and you can see it, but I haven't cut it yet. And yeah, so that's what I'm gonna be doing. I'm just gonna be cutting them a little bit more so that I don't have them sticking out, and then the retie process is a little bit smoother. But yeah, you can actually see how the growth of my natural hair is going just because there's three different things happening. You have the extensions, you have my hair with the extension, and then you have the interlocked portion. So my hair, for the most part, the shortest pieces are right here, and then the longer pieces are maybe right about here. So when you see my hair in the back, you can kind of see that transition a little bit more, a little bit better because of the things I described. So I'll do a 360 in a little bit. The other thing I wanted to talk about was the color of my hair. So this is an off black, and I've noticed I have a little bit more kind of like highlights in my hair. So when I know that when I first installed this hair, and I remember washing it, and obviously washing your hair makes it look a little bit darker, but I remember like how I felt like this color was too dark for me, and I'm actually noticing when I'm looking in the mirror that there's like there's brown pieces, or there's brown strands in the front of my hair, and I only did that with the black hair in the back, so I shouldn't really have that color in the front. Noticing like the color changes with my hair is not a big issue. It was just something that I wanted to point out in case other people have the same concern where they're thinking that their hair is maybe losing its color or something like that. It's not anything that I'm concerned about. I feel like it gives my hair a little bit of character, and it gives it a little bit of a pop, if that makes sense. So I have no concerns about my hair color as it stands. So the other thing I want to talk about is my scalp. So I've always had issues with my scalp. I remember one time I got a relaxer when I was younger, and like this back quadrant like here was really irritated. So I feel like since then that area has always been irritated, and so I did briefly try to wash my hair twice a week since I'm working out more, and I feel like that created a lot of matting at the roots because I don't really do a good job of separating my roots, and so I'm trying only to do it once a week. I did want to stretch it to maybe 2 weeks of going without washing my hair, but it's been really difficult because my hair gets super itchy. You have to take Claritin when it's really bad at night because it just triggers like this intense itching situation. It's not comfortable, and then I'm not going to wash my hair in the middle of the night, so I have to wait until the morning. And so Claritin has just been what has helped me in those times. And even going back to the video I did where I cut my hair and I felt like the conditioner or whatever gave me a allergic reaction, it's almost that bad because it's just once that spot starts tingling and I scratch it, I feel like it spreads to other areas, and it's just really bad. And so I haven't been to a dermatologist to figure out what's going on with that, but I did just want to point that out. The other thing I'm noticing is that my hair seems like a little more frizzy than usual, and I wasn't sure if that was because of a shampoo. So I did try to switch shampoos. I tried to use a like natural hair shampoo, but I feel like that makes my hair really soft, and it's probably going to contribute to my extensions stepping out, so I didn't want to go that route. So I'm still using swabs. I do feel like it causes my hair to get really frizzy, but I think it's been fine with me sitting under the dryer because there have been times where I've air dried my hair and I feel like that may not be helping the frizziness, so I've been making sure to sit under the dryer after I wash my hair. So alrighty, so let's go ahead and get into a 360. So I have redone my hairline in this area because I felt like a few of these locks are really small. So I have kind of tried to redistribute the parts a little bit. So this is why my hairline is a little bit more scalpy on this side. This is also my thinner side, so it's going to be scalpy regardless because this side is really, it looks really messy and grown in. But I literally just did my retie, so that's how my hairline always looks on this side. Alrighty, so that is it for my 360. I don't know if you guys have been able to tell, but my voice is gone. I noticed it about 30 minutes ago, and I have really been trying to push through so that I can get this video done for you guys because I had some great content that I wanted to share, some great updates that I wanted to share with you guys. And so yeah, I hope this video has been helpful. If you guys have any questions for me, if any comments that you want to leave, go ahead and leave them in the comment section below. And thank you guys for watching. Bye.